Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you two really awesome PvP builds that I've been using this season, which is season 4. And these are two of my favorite builds that I've had a lot of success with. And it's kind of funny because it seems like every season I'm always using a different build to climb the ladder. And last season, which was season 3, I used a really bursty PvP build with Dark Arbiter and Bursting Shadows, and I climbed all the way to 2201 in the 2s bracket. But this season is a little bit different. The meta is completely different now, so I've had to change my spec up a little bit. So today I'm going to be talking about that, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, let's go ahead and take a look at those two builds. So the first one is a Unholy Frenzy build, and these are the talents that I'm going with. So I'm taking Bursting Swords for the extra bonus damage on Festering Wounds, Blighted Rune Weapon for on-demand Festering Wounds, which is really nice because it's only a 1-minute cooldown. Of course, what makes everything work here is Unholy Frenzy, because as we all know, whenever we burst a Festering Wound, which we do a lot of as Unholy, it increases our attack speed, and in return we basically get more Sudden Doom procs, which means that we're able to use a lot more Death Coils. And now that Death Coil has been buffed, I still have my recount from today's session that I queued. As you can see guys, it's actually the #1 damaging ability for Unholy Death Knight now. So it actually does a lot of damage. So basically with this build, it relies a lot on a couple of things. One, of course, a lot of Death Coils. And then the other is Necrotic Strike, and I'm going to show you in a little bit here a 2v2 match where I actually use this build, and so you guys can kind of see how it works. I'm also going to show you the rotation right now on the target dummy. So basically everything else is pretty straightforward, like Asphyxiate, Corpse Shield, of course you can take Spell Eater against a caster team, and Shadow Infusion, and then Soul Reaper. Now keep in mind guys that this build right here is only good against teams that you're going to be able to stick on. For example, melee cleaves especially, because as you all know, Death Knight mobility is pretty average, and with this build, if you go against a team with like a lot of roots and snares, maybe like Frost Death Knights or Frost Mages, basically anything that has like a lot of snares, I definitely don't recommend using this. I mean, you can try it, but chances are you're probably going to have a lot of downtime. But right now, let me go ahead and show you the rotation for this particular build. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at this Unholy Frenzy rotation, and then after this I'm going to show you a 2v2 match where you can see this build in action. So the first thing that you're going to do is, of course, you're going to get 4 Festering Wounds on your kill target. You're going to cast Soul Reaper, followed by Apocalypse. You're going to then summon your Gargoyle, and then enrage your Ghoul, and then pop your Blighted Rune Weapon. And then basically here all I do is spam Death Coils and spam Necrotic Strikes. And that's basically it guys. This is where the magic basically happens with this build. It revolves all around Death Coils for really good damage, and Necrotic Strike for heal and absorption to make sure that your kill target doesn't get topped off. And most of the time this build catches teams off guard where there's so much damage coming in from Gargoyle, our Enraged Ghoul, and then they also have to deal with Necrotic Strikes, a lot of Necrotic Strikes, and of course a lot of Death Coils. So that's pretty much the rotation for this Unholy Frenzy build. So let's go ahead and take a look at a 2v2 match that I recorded earlier today, and then that way you guys can kind of see the way it works. Alright guys, so this is against a Resto Shaman Warlock team, and just like in a target dummy, I put 4 Festering Wounds on the Shaman, followed by Soul Reaper, Apocalypse, Summon Gargoyle, Enrage my Ghoul, and then activate my Blighted Rune Weapon. And then basically I just start spamming Death Coils into the Shaman, guys. Death Coils, Necrotic Strikes, Death Coils, Necrotic Strikes. And there's so much damage coming in from Gargoyle and from my Enraged Ghoul that the Shaman doesn't actually have time to do anything. He doesn't link, he doesn't, basically he was unprepared for the amount of damage that this PvP build can do, and basically didn't do anything except just flop over. And yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? And we pretty much just finish off the Warlock. Now that doesn't always happen, especially if the healer is ready for your burst that's coming, but for the most part, yeah, it does a lot of damage. Alright guys, so the next build is a Client Shadows build. So this is a build that I use a lot against teams that can kite me, like Frost Mages, Mistweavers, Resto Druids. You pretty much know the classes, right guys? Demon Hunter is another one that can get away from us really easily. So this Client Shadows build is completely opposite from Unholy Frenzy. So this relies a lot on ranged DPS. So basically, you know, our main attack is Client Shadows, and then we're relying on our pet to infect the target with Festering Wounds to kind of help us out. And we still use, of course, Death Coil because it's part of our main rotation, but we don't use it as much as the Unholy Frenzy build. And as far as Necrotic Strike, of course, we are still going to take it because the other talents are still kind of garbage. So it's still good, but we don't really prioritize Necrotic Strike with this Client Shadows build. So let me go ahead and show you a 2v2 clip so you guys can kind of see how I use this build in 2v2 arenas. Alright, so this is Unholy DK, Disc Priest versus Resto Druid, Subtlety Rogue, and this is kind of one of those really annoying matchups where Client Shadows build helps me out a lot because, of course, we all know Resto Druids can kite really well, and then if there's a Subtlety Rogue on me, pretty much never going to be able to get on the Druid. But thankfully we have Client Shadows, so not too worried about it. So here the Rogue opens up on me, cheap shot into a blind on my Priest, so they have pretty good momentum, but I get Pain Suppressed from my Priest. And then here, of course, this Druid is playing at max range, and he's already starting to kite. So I get my pet on him, and see if I can get my pet to infect the Druid with Client Shadows. So here he bashes me, and he kites me with his Vortex. So as you can see, guys, when I talk about classes that can kite you, I definitely am talking about like Resto Druids are really good at getting away. But Unholy right now does really good damage, and we're kind of counter pressuring him right now. As you can see, my pet is on the Druid almost all the time because he is able to, my pet can infect the Druid with you know, Festering Wounds, which is really nice for me, so I never have to worry about that. And that means I can always swap to the Druid. So this Druid, as you can see, he is basically getting rotted down by Festering Wound and my pet, and then I'm just on this Rogue. So this is kind of how I play the Client Shadows build on my Unholy Death Knight. This is my playstyle anyway, so, but still Druids are so annoying, as you can see, guys. I do steal a clone here from the Druid, and then I'm gonna throw it on this Rogue to see if I can maybe force a trinket, but he never trinkets. So so basically that's pretty much Client Shadows build in a nutshell, guys. As you can see, it doesn't have a lot of burst, is the only thing that I don't like about this build. But you know, as an Unholy DK, we don't really have a lot of burst to begin with, outside of Apocalypse, and maybe our Gargoyle does okay damage. But here, with this Client Shadows build, if you look at the health bars, guys, just take a look at the health bars. Like, my pet is riding down the Druid, I'm riding down the Rogue, and here I kick the Druid's clone, and then I clone him, and then it's almost GG here. So this Rogue vanishes and gets away from me, and it's pretty much the way this match goes. But eventually you know, with heavy dampening and all the damage that I'm able to do from ranged, and it's only a matter of time. Now, one thing to notice, guys, is I never used Necrotic Strike. I mean, you probably already see here. So, Necrotic Strike isn't really a priority with this build so much. So here I'm pretty much just destroying this druid from long range, and that's the Clan Shadows build in action, guys. Alright everybody, well that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. I would definitely appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions about the two builds that we talked about today, leave them in the comments below. I'm always reading you guys' comments, whether they're bad or good. But until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.